Should I don't know if, what about other participants? Do we need to unmute ourselves? We can just continue talking.
It doesn't matter to me. You can.
Okay. Yeah, I can.
But
yes.
If you just stay relatively quiet, unless it's a question, then it's fine.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Well, we're going to start now. My name is Casper. I've been in the military for approximately 5 years in the army, and after that, I've been going to the Danish National Guard, which in Danish is called hjemmeværnet. Those are the guards that you see on the roads. Often, directing traffic and cyclists, on tour. So, well, we're going to start right now. From Denmark to Afghanistan, story of my career. We have a little foreplay. Why did I choose the army? Well, when I was a kid, I always just had the feeling that I wanted to experience what the army was, and what you're going through, because of all the movies. You see all those kind of war heroes having a great bond with each other, getting deployed together, just having fun, like a real manly man world, if you can say so. And what was it like? It was really great. Not like movies, but it was an experience. It was a great one. I liked it a lot. And then we're going to talk through, as we progress through the PowerPoint, of how the experience changed with time, because it wasn't the same all the time. When you start a thing, you might have this mixed feeling with it, where you will progress a lot at first, and then when you're going through it, it'll be more like just a basic thing for you as you get better and better. So I'm going to talk about how the experience changed. And then we're going to talk about the 3 phases of educating a soldier, where you have enlistment, specialization, then you have your end of your career where you get a job. Yeah, then it just becomes a normal job. So the first picture here is actually for our first day of our enlistment. Is you come in your civil clothes. They told you to go up at the depot and get all your new stuff. You get, I think it's 4 or 5 of these huge bags filled with clothes and gear and everything you need through your 4 months of enlistment, as I was in. And you just have to change, and basically you look like shit at first, because you don't know how to dress, you don't know how to act, you don't know everything, because it's a whole new world for you if you haven't had any close family or relative that has been in the army and told you anything. So this is how a great new recruit looks. This is from one of our first days, where we have the weapons, where we have to clean. This was our sergeant, the next in command, and he has to go through everything that we're going to clean to make sure that everything's right. And he just finds one little black spot that hasn't been cleansed perfectly. You'll just get it shoved back in your face, and he just tells you, yeah, do it again, do it again, do it again. So you learn that, yeah, you have to clean it properly, which isn't good for the weapon though, but it's good for, yeah, educating a soldier, because it teaches you that you have a superior that has to give you orders, and you just have to do them. And this is also from the first week, where we had a lot of, I think it was once or twice a month, we had a physical test to see your level of fitness, and you have to improve it throughout your enlistment. So yeah, the reason why we had it so often was just to see your level of fitness. Did you improve or did you decrease? Because you don't want the soldier to have a specific level of fitness when you start, and it just gets worse and worse progressing through your enlistment. So you either want to stay the same fitness or at least get better. So that's why we test the young people so much. And this is the woods, where we learn to cover ourselves, to use the nature together with our uniform to try and stay unnoticed outside. So that's where we get a lot of education in the nature as well. Most lessons are outside, even if it's raining. You just stay outside, getting new stuff to do, learning new things to do, how to progress, how to walk through the nature, how to, yeah, stay outside and survive, basically. We also get a lot of civil education, like first aid, like here. We have you can't see in the picture, but we actually have some cars where we have simulated a car wreck, and I'm laying down here. Should simulate that I had a collapsed lung, pressure pneumothorax, I think it's called in English, where I just need to pretend that I can't breathe. I have blood out of my mouth. And this guy over here, he just needs to show that he knows how to act if something happens, so that he can call help, call the police, and just make sure that I'll get an ambulance and get okay. So you get a lot of different educations in the military, not educations you can use much outside for a civil education, but you can use them in the aspects of like first aid. And the next picture we have is here we're going to train our level of fitness, get it higher. This is what we call a gift. If somebody fucked up, you can't punish people, so you give them a gift of 20 burpees or 30 burpees or 20 push-ups or whatever. So yeah, you get a lot of gifts from your listeners. That's fun. And then we're going to a lot of outside exercises that are covering actually over a couple of days instead of just 1 day or 2 days. We're going out here. We're trying to dig some holes to stay down in, to cover ourselves with dirt, just so we can make sure that we can shoot the enemy and they can't shoot back. So I think we use 3 days on spending time just learning how to dig a hole deep enough so we can stand in it and defend ourselves if we need to defend the position. And this one I think it took 3 days for us to stay outside, dig the holes, and just defending it against the other 2 platoons, our sister platoons, the way we're on our enlistment with. When the week was over, we got home. We got a new weapon to educate ourselves on. This is me, and this is what we in English would call a bazooka. And yeah, you'll get educated on lots of weapons. I've got more to show later throughout the PowerPoint. But it's not only outside in the green, in the nature, where we spend our time. We use a lot of the time inside the cities, going through parades, just kind of like show off. I'm not really much into it. I don't like going through the cities with my uniform on, because I'm more like I see myself more like a soldier. Like most guys who wants to go outside into nature, the wild thing where we think we belong when we got our uniform on it. But a lot of the time we actually just go outside for the Queen, for parades, for I think there's somewhat silly things, but it makes a lot of sense since some people put a lot of pride in our military, and of course wants to show off, which gives a perfect sense. So yes, and we are learning a lot about how to go into the water, how to swim with the gear, the uniforms, with our weapons and our backpacks as well in the water, because it's not always that when you're out on the patrol, you'll see a bridge or something. It's not always there's a bridge that you can cross. Sometimes there's a pond, or there just won't be one. You have to get over a lake or a river or something, and then we have to learn how to get wet, soggy, and get through it with our gear, so we don't want to lose anything. But and for now it sounds pretty much fun most of the time, but it can be really, really harsh. Right here, we are on what's called a Rex tour. It's a 3-day long journey where we had to walk, I think it was 110 kilometers with fully backpacked. Also, we had these round, I don't know what they're called in English. They're filled with sand, weighs around 15 kilos each. And we have to carry them throughout the whole journey, where we get one each. So it's basically just an exercise to see how do you handle stress, how do you handle pressure, how much can you keep pushing yourself towards the goal when you know it's not there. During this exercise, we went into a forest that wasn't that big, but it just kept going in circles and circles and circles because the sergeant thought it was fun, and we didn't think that it was that fun. And throughout the days with no sleep, almost no food, and you're just tired, you just hate yourself. But you realize that when it's over, it's really not that hard. You just needed to push yourself a little bit further with time. Yeah.
Those items that you had to carry through the Rex tour.
Yeah.
Could you place them anywhere? Like, could you put them in your backpack, or could you switch it around so one carries 2 or 3 at a time?
You could. You could. We also had, you can't see it on this picture, but we also had some of the guys where we had someone who would drop off from the exercise because they thought it was too hard and couldn't handle the pressure. They would leave their backpack for us to carry. So we would just get another backpack and another weapon, and they would get inside to their homing and stay at the accommodations. So yeah, you could put them in your backpack if you had space, but it wasn't everyone that had space in their backpack because they didn't know how to pack properly. So yeah, you could place them in there because it is stressful to carry like that for 3 days. Yeah,
but you could help each other pack, couldn't you?
Yeah, you could at the start, but if you didn't, and I think this one was one of the other platoons, and they didn't pack very well because their sergeants got a lot of hate put down on the backpack, so they couldn't stuff it down there. Okay, just to be idiots. And also during this tour, we had to simulate a guy with a broken leg. So yeah. So we just had to carry him for, I think it was 3 miles, 5 kilometers. We had to carry the guy. It doesn't seem that hard, but it fucking is. So also got the stretcher, which he lays on. It's pure shit. You can get some great stretchers nowadays. They just come up with this from the Cold War. It's like, yeah, it doesn't really function that well. And here it's almost at the end of our journey. We have this box. Because throughout the journey we also had to drop off these big boxes of sand, and of course the guy with the broken leg, we had to drop them off. We just had to carry them for somewhat of 3 or 5 miles or something. And then at the end, 10 kilometers from the finish line, we didn't know it, but of course the sergeants knew. We got this big box. It weighed around 50 kilos, and it had our Rex marks in it, which are the ones you see all the guys from enlistment have on their shoulders when they get their obligatory picture taken with the uniform and everything. Yeah, they'll have these with the Queen's name on it, the marks. So they are also inside the box in a plastic bag, and you have to carry that for 10 kilometers until you hit the finish line, and then you're basically done when you hit it. But then you have one task left when you're getting to the finish line, and that is you have to pop a champagne bottle. And we had to drink champagne because, yeah, you endured the hard work, the tour, and everything. So now most of your enlistment is actually over. Of course, there's more aspects to it, but that's in short how your enlistment will go from start to end.
How much sleep did you get through the tour?
I think I got 3 hours in 3 days. So it's not that much, and throughout you won't get food, you won't get sleep. It's basically to see how far can you push yourself, where your limits, know yourself inside and out. Yeah.
Can you eat though? Because you say you cannot get, you won't get food.
We get, I haven't brought one with me because I don't have a full one. But we have these field rations where you have 2 meals in and just a lot of snacks. And on this tour, we only got a half, so the 2 our meals only gave us the snacks. So that's what we had to eat for 3 days. And then on the second day, they brought us each a carrot and a potato, raw, and we just had to cook ourselves with what we got. So either you could eat a raw potato, or you could try to see if you could cook it. And if you didn't know how to cook outside, well, you didn't have a potato. So yeah, that's what we had to eat for. I think it was around 800 calories only for 3 days. 110 kilometers, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was stress. So,
excuse me, these pictures that you are showing right now, are these the pictures that like from your journey in Afghanistan, or is it like the preparation for the journey?
This is from my enlistment. This is the first 4 months of me joining the military.
Okay.
Then after this, actually after this slide, I'll get through to how you can progress after your enlistment, which is those 4, 8, or 12 months, depending on where you're going to. But then my journey to Afghanistan comes in around 20 slides, 30 slides.
Yeah.
So I'll be there in around 10, 15 minutes.
No, yeah, that's all right. I just wanted to be sure that, yeah, I follow correct.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
So anyway, next slide is, yeah, I thought that was the end of an era. Also, I talked about the start of how you progress and then your experience will change over time when joining the military. I think those 4 months of enlistment of the basic training was the best 4 months in terms of evolving yourself, getting yourself to know your own you, how much can you push yourself, because your enlistment isn't the same today as it was when I joined 6 years ago, but it was to how much can you push yourself, how much better can you get than you were before, because now they've gotten a lot of other rules inside the military, so they can't push the same today that they could 6 years ago, because times change, and that's, yeah, it's just how it is. So this is the 4 months I think that I got the most experience out of it. I evolved the most at first, but now comes the fun part. This is where you get to know, do you want to be go to the engineers up in Skive? Do you want to go for the infantry in Slagelse, Livgarden, and Holstebro? Or do you want to go to be a sergeant? Or do you want to go to get like I was, get to reconnaissance? That's, yeah. So this is where I specialize and get a real military education, because the other thing is just like mandatory. Now you actually get to do what you want to do, train that, and you get bigger guns, more firepower. But yeah, that's just great. So when we go through, I chose to go through reconnaissance because that's the hardest part of the military. And here's he with upline. So here we have actually built a little station where reconnaissance is the hardest part most of the time. Not necessarily physically. You have to carry a rucksack a lot of the time and you don't have a vehicle. But because when we built this one, we had to stay there for 3 days, not moving. So we literally had to shit and pee where we were. So that's, yeah, that's mentally, it's stressing because you can't move. You just have to stay watching out for other guys and not get noticed. I always see 2 guys who's laying down like, yeah, we're still here. Yeah.
Can you point a bit more detail where we can see people?
Here, there's a guy right here. He's doing the jumper with his hand, just laying down. And we built a platform that didn't touch the ground and chopped it into the tree right here. Then we covered it with moss and branches and some plastic bags so that it would also be waterproof. So when we lay down there, we wouldn't get wet, soggy, but we would actually have a decent time, even though it was only 5 degrees. Then we went down with a lot of patrols, just walking and more walking. We walked at least 100 kilometers every week, so that was nice. A lot of fresh air. And then we had to stay here with this hole, just trying to blend in with the nature. And you can't really see it, but he's laying actually down at the platform that I showed before, that we covered with moss, so you can't see it from the outside. And you basically wouldn't notice him because he's laying like 200 meters away from where we're looking to what we have to observe. So that's what we learned at reconnaissance. Yeah.
So when you said that you shit and peed where you were, does that mean that you had a small hole in the platform that you could use?
It did.
Or did it mean just...
No, we had a small hole in the platform, yeah.
Okay.
You can, if you're man enough, you can shit and pee in your own pants. It's okay. But we prefer to just have a hole that we used, not simultaneously, but yeah. So we had a hole in the platform that we used that.
But you cannot really be avoid being seen while
no.
by your friends.
We have to know that we won't be seen by the enemy, no matter what it takes. So we have to lay an on platform with a little hole inside in the middle to do your thing. Yeah, that's why you do it. And then we had a lot of fun parts. Like here we're seeing rappelling down from what's called the mirror on Bornholm. This is one of the better days. Our first time was when it was stormy and rainy, and it's called the mirror because it's really, really, really smooth. It's really nice to go down on your summer days. But when it gets wet, you can't stay with your feet on it because it's so smooth. So our first time down this cliff was intriguing. I liked it a lot, but most of the guys, including myself as well, were a little bit nervous about going out only with a rope and a rope around our waist that we tied ourselves, while it's actually illegal. But now we had been going on a hike up there for 24 kilometers, so we of course had to go down the cliff or we wouldn't come home. That's what our senior sergeant told us. So, and then as we keep going down, we had to walk through the island of this is Bornholm. That's where we were stationed. We had to go through the island, and we got chased by the National Guard from Bornholm with lights and rockets and everything. And yeah, we just had to not get captured. But the reward was that when we were done, and if we didn't get captured, we got to shoot with a sniper rifle. So that's nice. That's more firepower. Bigger guns. This is the Sako TRT-42. It's one of the best sniper rifles in the world. It's a Finnish rifle, also used for hunting, but it's so precise, even up to 1,500 meters. It's really, really, really great. So that was an experience to get to shoot with that.
Did you take all the images from this PowerPoint yourself?
No, but all of the images are from my time. So I'm not in all of the pictures, but they are with me and me and my friends taking the pictures.
So you brought a camera with you all the time?
We had a cell phone.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, and some of the pictures, like the first 20 slides, they were from a photographer following us through our enlistment. But most of the pictures were taken with our cell phones. And but it isn't always just walking and shooting with bigger guns, which is basically it's pretty fun, to be honest. It's not the worst. Sometimes we also had to go through the water, just staying there. This is the time when we went through hypothermia, which is where you get your cold down to a certain level of heat. I think we stayed in the water for about 25 minutes. This is the 6th of December, 2016. And the water is -2 degrees Celsius. The weather is -5 degrees. And we had to stay in the water for 25 minutes. It was cold. And then when we had to stay there, we had to get out and get warm, going what is called the Finnish sauna. It's where you take like a big blanket that's mostly waterproof around yourself, and you have to light up like a little candle and just let that heat up the tent, the little tip you made with your body, and that'll dry your clothes. It actually worked pretty well. The problem was that when everybody got up moving, because we've been sitting still for 25 minutes, we barely almost freeze to death, it felt like. So most of the people went up dizzy and couldn't walk straight, and just were disoriented. So that was an experience.
Could you help each other turn on the Finnish sauna?
You could, but you didn't because it was a code. Imagine just staying in -2 degrees Celsius water, just staying there for 25 minutes. And then you have to get up and make your own, come to bed where you have to warm yourselves.
I didn't mean were you allowed to, I mean, were you physically capable of doing
it? No, not exactly. You weren't physically able to do it. You had to think for yourself first, because if you would save another, it's not sure that you'd save yourself, and if you didn't save yourself and he couldn't save himself, you'd lose 2 instead of 1 guy. So you had to make sure that you would get just a little bit warm and dry first, and then you could help another guy. So, but of course we had a lifesaver standing on the beach somewhere behind the camera over here, just looking at it, being like, I'm glad that is me. And 2 months later, in February, we got the water again. And here we have to, because of the reconnaissance part, we have to also be able to go on the water with a little boat, rowing our way through the landscape. And if we tip over, we have to be able to tip the boat over again. So you basically see progress here, where two guys will lay on the bottom of the boat, which is supposed to be in the water and not off this. Yeah, the boat is upside down, and they'll hang on to this line right here, where the other guys. This is me. This is one of my pals, Pelle. We hold on to another line, and they would try to flip it over by laying their weight backwards like this, and we'd hold on to these lines instead, and then we push our feet on the other side of the boat with the underside, yeah, just to try to get up, and that's how you do it. And then suddenly you're on top of the boat, and all is good. So it's a hard maneuver, and it takes a lot of energy, and all your gear is in the water, but you have to be able to do it even in stormy weather, because you can't get out being in there. Yeah. And here's where we're jumping inside the water, because yeah, it's supposed to be kind of fun, but also kind of not fun. Here you see just the nation. Now actually we've hit some cars inside here. There's a track going into here where we actually have parked 3 cars. That's also part of the reconnaissance that you have to, like, we have to cover ourselves, we have to cover our cars, our tracks, so people can find them. So yeah, this is where we've done it. There's actually 5 cars inside here. There's 1 over here, 2 inside here, and I think there's 1 and 2 over here at this part. But you can't see them because it only goes straight inside the tracks. And also here we're on patrol again, enjoying getting shot at with these huge light flares, where we use them a lot because they're like an artificial sun for around 20 to 30 seconds. We pop them up and we can actually see the enemies. The point is that you have to pop them up so far away from yourself as possible. It has a range of 20 to 100 meters to shoot through. And then when it pops, it's not like you can see the enemy like right there, but you can see the shadows. And you can see where the shadows stop because it ends in the back. And then when you see, okay, there's a shadow there, you just follow the shadow, track it, and then you actually can see the enemy from there. So you use it like a tracker for shadows. And here we are again, going out for a little stroll in the woods. This is from our first survival week. It's a whole week where we get stripped of our gear, only gets us what's heavy, no water, no food, and I mean nothing at all for 5 days. And then started walking from the accommodations for 25 miles to the shooting terrain. And then when we were there, we just had to find some location to get down, and we had to build our own shelters, our own fires, our own everything. We got a haystack each to put inside our shelters, and that was what we had to sleep in. And then we had a lot of missions during both daytime and nighttime. And if we did those missions good, we'd get a harder mission the next time. But we also get a reward. So it could be like, yeah, you can use some of your backpack now, and you can use these 3 things from your backpack. So if you perform well, you get it better, and you sleep better, and if you sleep better, because I think we had 3 or 4 hours sleep every night, well, you could perform better again, and then you could actually like restore a lot of your energy that way. This is just us getting a new mission in the forest, just waiting to go out. And here you see the way we built a shelter. We also had, like last time, this time we did plastic bags, so we used way more dirt on top here as a roof, so that it would be waterproof as well. We had a fire down here to heat up, and we had a lot of hay to lay on because we couldn't move things off our backpack. But it was actually quite comfy. You could stay. I could easily stay there for a week or 2 more. It's not for the missions and lunch leave and no food, but yeah, it was fun. And here you see again, because it was a test of survival, of course. So we had to get wet every 6 hours. We had to get up, get in the water with our clothes and gear. And yeah, that's it. So then we had some time to try and dry it over the fire, so it smelled like a bonfire instead of the normal. But at least we had the right clothes. And then we had to go on our missions. And the suit we're actually wearing, this green suit, is what we used as one of the first pictures as well when we cleansed the weapons. Because it's like a work suit where you can do dirty stuff and you can get all on it without thinking about it, because it's what you get it for. you get it to work in dirty places. So if you walk with it for a rod, you'll actually get a lot of well, you kind of like burnt skin on your thighs inside. So
broken skin.
Yeah, broken skins. So it sucks. It's really bad. You just have to endure the pain. And this is 6 hours later from this picture where we had to get in the water again. So that's nice. And then we have the next day, the next morning at 6 o'clock, we had to get in the water again. But at least it was, I think it was 15 degrees outside. It wasn't that bad, the weather. So that's all right. Going for a swim, you wouldn't at least, you might smell bonfire, but you wouldn't smell a sweat, which we did as well. And that's basically the end of the journey. Then I couldn't take more of the education in because some of it is actually classified. But we had a lot of auto patrolling trips and other stuff that we just can't talk about that much. From picture far. So, but then now you're specialized. What then? Well, nothing. You just keep on grinding, doing exactly what I showed you in the fast 30 slides. You just keep doing them again and again and again until that you're good enough and just keep getting better, keep challenging yourself, getting on a new level of fitness, getting better at shooting, better at rappelling, getting faster, everything. So you just need to keep better. So, and then we think about sunny beaches, having fun, relaxation. Nah, now we're going to Afghanistan. So it isn't a beach, but yeah, it's the closest we'll get to a beach. So this is actually outside on the shooting range. You can see there's a lot of fresh air out here. But when you see over here at the city, there's a big fog over the city, which is because it's down in the valley. So when the Afghans are burning off in the winter, they're burning everything they can find: old tires, plastic, even their own poop. Actually, you can taste and smell it in the air when you come. You can smell and taste the rubber, the poop, everything because of the smog that's surrounding the city of Kabul. But it's not. Yeah, it might seem like it's not a nice place, but when you get higher up and you look out over the city, it's actually a beautiful city. It's green, has lots of trees. Up here you see what's called an ice star. It's a big camera. Yeah.
Why do they burn that?
To keep warm. Okay. Because they don't have the same society that we have. They don't have heated radiators. They don't have an oven you can shut fire in and just keep your house warm. They don't have the same opportunities. Also, there's a lot of homeless down in Afghanistan, and I'm going to show some of the pictures where you can see it. Okay, why they're doing it. But they're simply doing it to keep warm. They'll burn everything that they don't need. So, but yeah, it's actually a beautiful city.
If I can comment a bit, it's just because I'm from Afghanistan. So I guess it depends from city to city and which place. But I can imagine like people who like go there as a army people, probably they cannot contact with the all the like different places in Afghanistan. So probably you would, I don't know, have you talked with the local people also?
Yeah, we are going to talk with the local people sometimes.
Okay, yes.
So I got some pictures of it actually.
Okay, nice. Yeah, but yeah, I guess in Afghanistan there is like different class of society and different parts, you know.
Yeah.
So we have so I guess some places are like more modern and some places are like less. But yeah, it was just like a small comment in the things that you said about the burning and stuff, because some people just like they burn like normal wood, like as we do in Denmark, I guess.
I'll get to show both sides of it.
Yes, great.
So yeah, but the next one picture also from we're on top of the hospital actually, a really nice one, just besides the camp, because we had to go for a meeting up there with the general. So here you can see this is a national park in Kabul actually, where they have, I think it's the world's biggest flag for a nation flag. You can see it later, and yeah, you can see this is the other side of the national park where you can see these big hills. They're actually filled with the houses and homes, and this is where it's not it's kind of like in Slumdog Millionaire. It's the sum of part of the slum of Kabul. We even see the standards actually changing from what we see inside the city to what we see when we go outside of the city borders. And there you see the world's biggest flag. I think it's 60 meters long and 20 meters wide or something. It's huge. So it's not like Afghanistan, Kabul is a bad city or a bad country. It's actually pretty beautiful. We've been in the national park walking, and yeah, we liked it. It's not something you see in Denmark, and it's pretty beautiful. It's good nature. So this is my team. Well, I'm down here, and yeah, so this was just part of our team that we had to do missions with, and then the mission we were on is not necessarily only reconnaissance. We were also trained as bodyguards. So we had to act that as well for important people, so that they could go and make meetings with generals and advisors down in Afghanistan to see what can we help rebuild the country, what can we help with, is there something that you need funds for. So we also did that. And here we are outside of the borders of the city in a military base from the Afghan National Army, ANA, and they have this huge mosque outside, which the whole dome of it is making covered. It's we couldn't go inside the mosque, which is some of us wanted to just to see how it was, and of course we have to lay our weapons down outside and everything, and that's why we couldn't go inside. But it was beautiful outside. If you look at the architectural spectrum, it's some of the buildings really amazing one. But it's not all fun and games. Here we're about to get bombed. So then we have to stay inside the camp with these bunkers, just waiting for the threat to clear up. And of course, it's not also only about that. Here we are playing basket because, sometimes we don't have any missions, or we have already done our mission. It was a short one, maybe only 3 or 4 hours, and then we have the rest of the day to have fun, play basket, go work out, just eat ourselves, enjoy the food. This was a special evening because we made an appointment with a cook, a chef outside of the walls, where he would actually come in with a lot of food to us, a lot of local food. So this day we ate a lot of local Afghan food, and the taste is amazing. They know how to cook, man. I loved it. The guys loved it. And you see they're just digging in like, more and more. Like the rice is just better than Danish rice. Food is just better. And here you see the accommodations we have. We live in, if we would have the rooms as we have in the dorm, I think we'd live 5 people in a room, 6 people maybe. And that's without a bathroom, so to speak. We were 150 people for free toilets and free showers. So we had to share 50 people for a shower. That's nice. So this is, that's how it looked like. And here we're actually going outside the city, close to the borders. And you can see how the road, there's basically no road. You can see the city isn't really much as what it looked like when we were inside. But this is how it looks from the outside. And this is a memorial run from the bombings that happened in Oklahoma, and I can't remember the date. But we went for a 5 kilometers run, getting a T-shirt and everything, and a diploma that completed this run and supported the Oklahoma bombings for the victims, and then the more who ran, the more they would donate towards a good cause, helping the families that lost people in the bombings. So at the time also went with that, and our whole platoon is staying around here down in the end because we weren't in the main focus. So we just joined the Americans and just stood back in the background and just went for the run with them because they had a lot of feelings inside it, a lot of proudness and everything. And we couldn't relate in the same because we were different people from Denmark, but we supported them, of course. Here we're inside the camp, and you can see how our cars parked. You can see the big flag over here again. And this is, I think this flag is almost 2 kilometers away. So the way you can see it just means it's pretty big. And this is the hospital, or part of it at least, where all the pictures I took was from up here. So and this is where we're,
what languages were dominating in the camp? Was it like English all the time, or did you speak Danish with your platoon?
No, we spoke Danish. Of course, the main language was English. Everyone inside knew how to speak English. So not everyone. There was Mongolians as well. They didn't know how to speak English, all of them, but they had someone who could. So they would speak their own language only, and just have a guy who knew how to translate between both languages. But else, we kept talking Danish with ourselves and with our platoon, because that's just the way we communicate. And then if we had to communicate with any other, like the English, the Polish, the Germans, the Americans, we'd speak English, of course.
And on missions, that would be in Danish as well? Or?
Not necessarily. We would between our platoons, because we wouldn't involve anyone if they didn't have anything to say. So if it's like, if it's like we're going out in a formation, and I'm just saying I'm clearing over here, and they would say, yeah, okay, we're talking Danish for that. But if it was something that the advisor needed to know and he didn't speak Danish, we'd of course tell him in English. So we would include him as much as he needed, but not give him unnecessary information. So we would always have to filter out, what does he need to know, what does he not need to know. So it's like nice to know, need to know, and he would only get need to know. And the safe evening, this is actually the shooting range where we can go outside, where I showed you the first picture with the smart over the city. That's where we go out shooting with our weapons and calibrate them and go for a little bit of fun time. And the same evening we got home from there, it got bombed again. So now we have to sit here. Thought we were here in like 9 hours, and we're pretty crowded. Guys having their phones with, not enough power. We just played Risk on them. So we just took turns playing 9 hours of Risk on a phone, 5 guys. It can get boring. So just sitting there relaxing and feeling not happy. We're hungry and angry, so we are hungry. We can't get out because of the threat. So yeah. But at least we had each other, right? Some of us even fell asleep down there.
Casper?
Yeah.
When you talk about bombs, were they real bombs, or were they the practical bombs, something that's just like train you more, or
No,
were they real?
It was real bombs.
Okay. Yes.
So we also did have
where were they from? Like from the Taliban? That okay.
Both from the Taliban, ISIS, and so on.
ISIS, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, may I have a question, because there are has been 6 years right now I have been in Denmark, but like I grew up in Afghanistan, but I was at that time I was like much younger and I didn't know that much, but I can remember we used to see some soldiers, like foreigner soldiers, but I didn't know they could come from like different countries, also from Europe, because in my imagination they were just from USA. But now I can hear like soldiers were from like different countries, such as Denmark. That's like one of them were you. So the question is that because I thought like soldiers used to go there to train our soldiers, like Afghan soldiers.
Yeah.
And but do you like soldiers have the mission to fight back to the Taliban like directly?
No. Our mission is never to fight back directly, because that would be seeking a warfare that we are trained for it, but we're not going to deployment for it. The reason we're down in Afghanistan, the Danish soldiers at least, I don't know why if they have changed the mission, but we were on what was called Mobile Force Protection Team, MFPT, which is basically a white privilege bodyguard taxi service, where we would just drive people around going bodyguards for them, but we also went out for a lot of reconnaissance, which we were trained for with our specialization. So we weren't down there to go and seek a war with the Taliban or the ISIS, but we were down there trying to help different aspects of the society, more like with people going down there for meetings. We would go out, getting to know places if we needed to, knowing can we go this way, can we use this road, if we go outside, what would happen if we go 2 hours north of Kabul, if we needed to, what would happen if we drove 2 hours south of Kabul. I have pictures of that as well. And then just to go out and explore, but not necessarily engage in a firefight.
Okay. Yes.
So we were more like, we were down there trying to be diplomatic.
Yes, interesting. Yeah.
But despite the bombings, Denmark still had to play for the Soccer World Championship, and we of course had to watch it. So we'd also have some fun nights where we'd say, no missions at this time, we're going to have fun, we're going to watch soccer, and the other nations, which also had the football team, understood why we would watch it. So we just had to agree with them that you take our mission this day, we'll take your missions the other day. So then we could watch the soccer games. And here we're out in the shooting range as well. You can see outside the big wall of dirt, dirt from before. And again, just shooting, training, having fun on the field. And then we have a national holiday, a Danish national holiday actually. Here you can see this is one of my friends, Mataro. He has a Viking helmet on with a Danish flag in his hand, and we had to walk for 20 kilometers just to show respect to Danish veterans. And all the other nations would join as well. And we'd have this stand over here with a lot of water, snacks, sodas, whatever you could imagine for those who walk through, because it was probably like 35, 40 degrees. So to walk 20 kilometers in the sun with a rucksack of 15 kilos, it can get tough, because it was also on hot asphalt. So it's not what we're used to, but it's doable without training. And we got a lot of flights with helicopters. It wasn't always that we could go out and take the cars because of a threat or something. But if the meeting was important enough, they just call out for the chopper taxi service, and we just get on it on a few Black Hawks and just fly to another base and go from there. So we also had that aspect. And this is where we're out in reconnaissance outside the city. Actually, this is a big construction site where they thought they would be flood to engage in, not for us to engage in a firefight, but for the Taliban to engage, trying to get it, because the construction stopped. So we were just outside looking if there was anything suspicious about it, and there wasn't. So we just drove 3 hours to go around 10 minutes to say, it's clear to go home again. But despite all the missions and all the things you're not used to acting, you still have to get your daily day through your daily day. And their national holiday in Afghanistan was Friday, whereas to us it's Sunday. So each Friday we wouldn't have any missions at all, unless it was really, really, really important. So I think we only had it once in those months I've been deployed. And so we had to clean our rooms, mop the floor, we had an airplane, so we had to clean. We had to take our mattresses, our laundry, everything we had to do on Friday, if we hadn't done it any other day of the week, because we were still in not a hostile environment, but in a non-familiar environment. So we had to take our precautions so we wouldn't get ill and sick. And it's also a great day just to relax, because we do like 4 hours of work, basically from home, cleaning, fixing the cars, just preparing them for the next week's mission. And when that was over, we could do it even before the clock was 11. Then we would just have free the rest of the day. Yeah.
Did you get mechanical training?
No.
Nope. Fixing your cars?
We had mechanics.
Okay.
So we didn't get mechanical training, but we helped the mechanics if they needed help. So like some of them were sometimes understaffed, so we had to. So they could ask us, "Hey, can you help fix this or just change those 3 light bulbs or them?" And we could do it, but we didn't get any training for it. And here, as you asked for, Sunita, we're seeing here. This is one of our advisors. I can't remember his name, but he's a national Afghan, just knows great English. So we had him as a translator, and we had to go outside to meet the public, talk with I think it was someone from the city council in Afghanistan, who was under the president, and he would meet us down there, and yeah, we'd have to, yeah, the public came as well, some of them to take pictures and talk and say hi. So yeah, we also did meet with the public, and they're friendly people, nothing wrong with them at all. So it all went smooth, but we also had to take our precautions because, yeah, you just have to when you are down in an environment where some people see you as hostile. And here we're seeing going way too far out of the city, driving on a road to the mountains, out to a city gate and into another city. And this big one over here is it's a wedding hall where they have these huge buildings for wedding halls where you can we rent the building and it's go there to celebrate a wedding basically. So we got into this other city where there wasn't as much traffic as in Kabul, which was nice. And then we had to go for a patrol outside, just walking through, checking the perimeters of another camp, which you see to the left. And it was all friendly, so nothing happened there. And we also had, during our training and our time down there, we had a lot of Americans that we had to do a lot of mission with. So we had to learn how to act with them. So here we see this. This was kind of like my daily leader because we were 3 people in a vehicle normally, and we were 2 of those, and we were really great at this urban warfare in cities. So we had to engage with the Americans, talking with them. How do they do their standards? How do we do ours? If we would engage in a firefight, who would do what, and how can we expect to learn from each other, and how can we expect each other to react? Because we have different standards, because we're from different countries. So we also had to work together with other nations, knowing their standards, letting them know ours. So we just knew, okay, if we go in, I know he does this, so I have to do this and this instead of just only this one thing that I do normally. I have to compensate for that. And here we're just stacking up, lining up with an American over here into our drill, and we see Manarov, the one with the Viking helmet and the flag from earlier. He's stationed there, is acting like an enemy, so we have to take him down in this setup. And here we're seen on a rainy day trying to go through the city of Kabul once again. And it's crowded. It's always crowded in Kabul. Sometimes we could drive for 2 miles and it would take 2 hours. And I'm not kidding, the traffic in Copenhagen at rush hour. Yeah, man, it's piss water between compared to this, man. I could move from Copenhagen 10 times and still be stuck in the traffic in Kabul, not moving, because people sometimes just uses the road instead. And if you go for a roundabout, you don't know if people go left or right inside of it because they just go both ways. So yeah, just crowded, and you have to be precautious because we don't want to hurt people unnecessarily. So this took a few hours to get through this, and I think it was more than 2 miles, and we had to use 2 hours to get through. And as you can see, it's not always sunny. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, it's so sunny over there. Now you are you're showing the picture of city, and maybe you're close to the bazaar also. Just comes to my mind that I ask you about the food. Did you what you used to eat when you were up there, and have you tried the local food, or you used to just get the food from the army?
No, basically we got food from the army most of the time because we had what's called a DFAC, a dining facility, where you got free food. So you could go there, get free food, free sodas, free everything, even ice cream and dessert every day. So that was great. But yeah, as you saw on one of the other pictures, we did make some appointments with the locals where they would come in with food for us, because also at the start of the PowerPoint where you saw the city from top of the hospital, we actually got 2 local chefs to make us food and serve it for us in that meeting, because the general had ordered them to it because he knew we came from soldiers, and it was right in our lunchtime, so he had ordered 2 chefs for us. So yeah, we tasted a lot of the local food, and it's great. Some of it you wouldn't eat because you could see how the way they would store it compared to how we store our food in supermarkets. They would just hang the food outside to dry, the meat, for example, and you could see flies all around it. But yeah, so I think they're used to it. I wouldn't necessarily eat it like that, but I'm going to show later that we also went into a bakery to order some bread and naan bread. So we did taste a lot of local food, and most of it was really, really, really great.
Yes, but usually, like normally for the soldiers, they used to make like just like the international food. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So and as you can see, it wasn't always sunny. Now I forgot to go through the real chronological order when we took down there, but when we got there in January, it was snowy, minus 20 degrees. 3 days later, it was plus 20 degrees. Just 2 days later after that, it was minus 20 degrees as well. And then it kind of rained and snowed at the same time. So the temperature spiked and then went down, and spiked and went down. The first couple of weeks we were there. And yeah, it's not always sunny. It also snows. It's not used to snow every time, but it comes occasionally. And here you can see close up to the mountain hills where they would have their houses. And you can see we're going in a roundabout, a big one, and we're going one way, and the other cars are going the other way in the roundabout. So yeah, you have to be precautious not to hit anyone. But there's a lot of space here, not many cars at the moment. Yeah.
Do they have an official way that you're supposed to go?
Yeah. We also sometimes took the left. I think they're supposed to go to the right turn, but if there's not too heavy traffic, you just go left if that's possible. That's basically it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so sometimes we will also go left in the roundabout or go right in the roundabout. It's just what's faster. If is there a threat that we have to take care of or anything, or yeah. So what's best for you, basically. Here we see some kids trying to get some water. We couldn't give water or anything to kids when we were inside the vehicles because we're not allowed to open doors when we're outside unless we have a necessary mission to do so. Or a necessary, yeah, we need a necessity to do it, else we just can't because of the safety of ourselves. Even though it's just 2 kids and an adult over here, and we can see that those guys, they're not fed at all. We just have to take our precautions. And here we're going through the city. We have to go to a meeting at the bakery as well, if I recall right. That was making food for us at the different accommodations we were in. And again, you can see this big building over here. It's called the Dunia Wedding Hall. Also a huge building, beautiful building for weddings. So they had a lot of architectural buildings in Afghanistan, so they were nice. And this is where you see the camp. You see the Swedish flag, the Danish, the Finnish, and I think the Norwegian. Oh, I think this is the Norwegian. This is the Danish, and I think this is the Great. Oh, Icelandic. I think it is. I can't remember. I think it's for all the Nordic countries. We had our own building. Basically, it's like a game room. We had a TV. We had some games, cardboard games. We had a roof. We could go out and get a tan. So this was our safe space in one of the camps, where most of the generals were. So yeah, this was not our usual camp, but we were there from time to time. And here we are on a mission again. We have just to drive through the cities for a meeting, another one. Oh, that's what we thought until it turned out to be reconnaissance. You can see all the bazaars down the road with people selling oranges, lemons, and yeah, whatever they sell at those stands. And we're driving out, way too far outside of the city as what we were used to. And then we got out as the picture for the Facebook event is taken out here, where we can see the mountains up close. And there's a lot of snow not far away from where we stand, even though it's plus 25 degrees where we are at the moment. So it's really, really beautiful up there. Great landscape, great nature. We couldn't go to the mountains because we would try to go a little bit further south from here, where we would get shot at, so we had to turn around and go home. No one injured, luckily. But yeah, some of us wondered if we could go up in the mountains. We also met a few warlords down here, where a warlord is like at a local clan. He's like the leader, and they also carry weapons, AK-47s. and they had these huge gold chains, like you see like a gangster in a movie. They look like a gangster boss, typical gangster boss. And they're friendly people. They aren't hostile towards you if you're not hostile towards them. So we could go for a chat or a stroll, and they would ask us if we could shoot into the mountain because they would like to hear how our weapons sound when we shoot it. So yeah, they were freaky types, but nice enough to not hurt anyone if you didn't do anything bad to them. And yeah, there's just some pictures out here. He's just out because he has a little bit high ground when he stands inside the vehicle. So he's just out there looking out for friends and everything. And we would walk out, trying to see how far we could go. And he would see another one of our convoys coming towards us. They were 5 minutes behind us. And you can just see the traffic going to the city and the power lines and everything. And here we have our standard formation when we were out on missions. I'm in front here. I'm what you would call a point man. I would always be in front. So if someone would take a hit, it would be me. I would also hopefully fire the first shot if there would be a threat. So that's basically how our formation is. And we always change our formation depending on where this guy here, which is an advisor. This one here is an advisor who had a personal bodyguard from Australia as well. And those two in the middle here, this is the guy that stood earlier outside, who are our translators. So yeah, we would carry them inside the middle, but so it wouldn't seem like they were being too close to them, and we'd be really, really fluent with our movements and formations. So we wouldn't seem too hostile, but we'd be ready to protect them. And yeah, just a few pictures. You can see just someone going inside the city with a lot of, I don't know what's called, just trades to sell. And some nationals. Just some pictures outside when we went south. It was not far from here we were shot at, where we had to turn around because it's a 10-minute drive further south, where we just had to go out to here, look at the power lines we see, and some of the houses close to it because they had a generator outside here. We just had to make sure that the generator was operational for the city. This is me. This is what it was of the green landscape outside, but it's there. And yeah, the mountains. And here we went, since we went inside the bakery to buy some bread to take home. Yeah, and some national Afghan guards. And that's about it. Then we're actually going home from here on. And that's probably the end of our tour.
So just back to the cell phones. What did you use them for? Except for taking pictures, were you able to text home, and did you have Wi-Fi, and were you allowed to just text whenever you had time?
No, not at all the times. And not when we were inside the vehicles, we had no internet because we had jammers. So I think it was for, I don't know exactly how much, but there's a safe zone around the vehicle where your phone wouldn't work because of the jammers. They would stop the frequency from getting in for protection. So you couldn't put on a remote detonated bomb or anything because you just wouldn't get a signal. So for that case, yeah, we had jammers. We couldn't use our phone in the cars. We could take pictures still, but we couldn't go online. And if we were outside and we were having a break and the jammer were off, then yeah, we could use our phone with Wi-Fi. We had a subscription of I can't remember the company we had it from, but we had the 4G everywhere in Afghanistan almost. Okay. So even when we were out on missions, we had I'm on duty now, but sometimes we change in duty because we only need 2 or 3 guys on duty at the time, and we were at least 9 guys going out on every mission. So sometimes we would rotate, so we'd get a break after an hour, and they would go for an hour to support. So that way, yeah, we would use our phone if we could, also to text home. And of course, in the camps, we had Wi-Fi. So it's expensive, but we have it. And then right now, I'm not in the army anymore, but I'm in the National Guard, as I said at first. Also, I've got some equipment I can show you really fast right after. It's the same equipment I used in Afghanistan. Almost the same setup, but not quite. Yeah.
I think that if we can take a break now, we should take like 5-10 minutes.
Oh, I'm done in 5-10 minutes. But yeah, then when I got home, I started going for education and joined the National Guard instead. And here you see me preparing for going up to Greenland with Sirius. And yes, I'm serious. So we just had to prepare. This is in Esbjerg, where we had to jump inside the harbor. And it was in October last year. So we'd get a rope around our waist just in case of it was too cold to get up. But yeah, it wasn't. But yeah, just in case. Then we got inside this huge freezer, with negative 30 degrees Celsius, where we had to stay inside for, I think it was 5 hours after we had been in the water, so to speak. So it's just staying here, and you can also see the water down here is actually already turned to ice, where we'd only been in for like 2 minutes. So we had to change our clothes, get naked, change our clothes, get dry, and then walk around to get the heat through our body. And here you see me and my friend, we're in Lithuania with the National Guard as well, going with some new weapons, trying some new things with the Lithuanian army. Just training with them, going out in their nature, learning how do they move and do in their nature. If they have to survive, how do we do? See if we can learn something from each other. Going on an exercise as well, shooting with the old Garand, which is haven't been used for like 35 years or something. And here we are going to, this was on the trip we did over there as well, where we had to raid a car with their weapons from the Swiss firm Steyr, AUG. Yeah, we used their newly weapons from there because we couldn't transport our own weapons to Lithuania, which is, so we just got some of theirs. And here I look like a flirtatious girl, talking to absolutely no one, which is just a bad angle of the picture. But we're also down here trying to find our way, just having a break, grabbing a snacks and water before we would move on, which we have to do sometimes. And as our sergeant used to say, misery is best when you share it with friends, because a lot of the times it's really misery. Anyway, that was the presentation, to be honest. Yeah.
So this may sound like a weird question, but recently I've heard a lot about private armies.
Yeah.
And how they have messed up during some years. So I was just wondering if private armies is something that you don't see Danish former soldiers go into, or if it's as like used or maybe acceptable in Denmark as it is in
it's not acceptable in Denmark. It's acceptable in Sweden. So yes, we do have private armies in Sweden, with shell corporations in Sweden working under national operations from America, like Blackwater, Guardian, firms like that. And yes, I have also considered joining them because the pay is good. And sometimes you get some sketchy things, but you get your gear, you get your weapons, you get everything, and you get paid really, really well. I think it's in terms of getting paid bad as a private soldier, you get 60,000 Danish crowns each month after taxes. So 60 grand after taxes. That's a lot each month, going through basically what I've already been through, getting paid only half. So I just double the fee and I would go as a private contractor. But there's more risk involved, and the problem is that they could hire me on their any shell company, move me to any shell company they would have, going under that country's laws. So they could move me to a shell company in Morocco, and if they had some different laws in Morocco than we have in Denmark, I would be under their laws. So maybe I could go out, do crazy stuff, not get punished for it, but I could also do stuff and get the death penalty. So there's a lot of sketchy things you have to put your mind through to see if it's worth going as a private contractor. But it's an opportunity that I considered some time, because it pays well, and I could take 2 years off as a private contractor, go home, get to study, buy an apartment, buy whatever the fuck I want, because I would basically be a millionaire after just a year. And that's if we get paid bad. If you get paid really good, you'd get like 100,000 each month after taxes. So yeah, it's an opportunity, but it's not something I have done. But it's something that, of course, has been on my mind, because why not get paid 5 times what I always did, and then just getting deployed for a year, 2 years? Why not? It's great pay. It's a job like everyone else. So yeah. And just quick, I would show my gears, of course. This is a basic standard gear that I used in Afghanistan as well. The same setup here. We have our magazines in front and here. I would normally have a radio in here, which I had to deliver back to the army because it's a sensitive material. I have the sling for my weapon, and I have here I have a tourniquet, which is demanded that we have at all times. If we step on a bomb or get shot, or if you have a scary bleeding, like you learn from the ABC of first aid, if there's a bleeding that seems scary, well, we have to cut off the bleeding so you won't bleed out. That's what we use the tourniquet to. And then here I have a multi-tool, which is a knife, and yeah, basically just a standard multi-tool. I could use for a lot of things. Also, if we would get hit with anything in the car, I could take this on and just cut off my seatbelt, so I would be able to get out of the car. Not anything is possible. And then we have a standard belt with my helmet, where most of the time we had to wear a helmet. Sometimes we could just wear a cap if it was all right, depending on where we were, how many people was there any threats, and basically just a lot of bags with whatever we wanted in here. Used to be my night gear, where I could put on my helmet to see at night. Inside here, I had a snack pack where I just have snacks, because snacks are important. This is what's called an IFAC, individual first aid kit, where if anything would happen, I would pull it out, put it around my neck, and I would have every first aid gear in front of me, so that I could patch myself up or let anyone else do it if I wasn't able to. I have this magazine pouch, which I used I cut a hole in it so I could have a water bottle instead, because water is important. Remember to stay hydrated. And another magazine pouch, because you can never go low on ammo. And then we had a dump pouch, which was mandatory for everyone. Dump pouch is where you just throw everything down, trash, your magazines are used. If you find something important, you can put it down there. That's why it's called the dump pouch, because you just dump everything down. And that's basically what you use when you're out, as well as protective glasses and gloves. Yeah.
So if you are in an area where you can wear your cap instead of a helmet, would you do it, or would you personally just use the helmet instead?
No, we removed the helmet as much as possible because the sun was sharp, and we had a policy where we couldn't wear sunglasses because we had a saying called hard minds instead of short force, where if I came with sunglasses, loaded up both hands on my gun, looked badass, you would also get an impression of me that I was not a nice guy, I was a bad guy, if you can follow me. But if I came with white glasses that you could see into my eyes, we could maintain eye contact. I only came with one hand on the weapon. I didn't get with my helmet. I came with a cap on. I'd seem a lot more friendly to you, so you'd be more friendly to me. So that's what we went through. We went through the hardest minds, so we would seem more friendly than our American friends, because they would go fully geared up, both hands on weapon, sunglasses, looking badass. But yeah. But we also made more Afghan friends and better conversations than the Americans did, because we were just seemed way more friendly than they did.
So what are you still in the
National Guard?
National Guard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And what do you do now? Is it volunteering?
Yeah, it's volunteering, and at the moment we don't do anything, to be honest, because of Corona. Yeah. But else we're going out some weekends on an exercise, going on for a whole weekend. We can go out shooting Sunday for a couple of hours, just training. every second Thursday, so 2 Thursdays a month, we're going out having 3 hours with our platoon, where we either train something or going through something in theory and then see if we can use it next time, or everything.
Just to keep like updated.
Yeah. So we just keep updated. It's not on a full daily basis like in the military, but we go through the same training just over a longer period of time, so to speak. And that's why we also went to Lithuania to train in another environment with another soldier that we're not familiar with that much, but are part of NATO. And that's why we go to Greenland, because they're seeing that as the ice is melting on the poles, where there's getting more and better efficient routes for China and Russia to use up north because of the ice going away for trafficking, so they could save up to 25% of fuel in shipments. So that way we're actually going up there to explore new opportunities to protect Greenland still, and see how can we protect the environment, and is it possible for them, and should it be possible for them to move up there with the shipments, or should we just cut it off because there's a lot of activity up there at the moment. So and also we're going out if there's anything we have in our platoon, we have cooperation. No, somewhere.
Yeah, cooperation.
Yeah, cooperation with Ajax Copenhagen girl handball team, the under 18s, where we let them go through some military training, and they are then going to help some of the guys who aren't performing at a special level of fitness to get better, in better shape. So we're also outside with other unions.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
I have some questions.
yeah.
Yes, how long you needed to be in Afghanistan for doing the service?
It depends on what mission you're going to take. We had the opportunity to stay for only 4 months or take another trip on another 2 months, which I did. So I was there a little bit over 6 months. Then you have the opportunity sometimes to only get down there for 10 days, maybe even less if it's not that important that you're there. You can get for 5 days. Some people are going there for 9 months. It depends and varies with the mission you're going to perform down there.
Yes, and will you receive any certificate or degree when you are doing some service in especially for dangerous countries such as Afghanistan?
Yeah, I have both. I didn't take them with me, but I do have both diplomas and medals from when we were deployed. So you get that when you get home, and you get a ceremony where we had to wait. I think it was almost 2 hours for a politician, where we just couldn't. We just stayed in the sun. Where we came home in the summer of August the 18th, when the best summer ever in Denmark, where we didn't experience it, but we came home and just had to endure 2 hours of sunbathing with fully clothed and everything at Christiansborg, where we just had to stay there on the square, just waiting for some politician to come and say, "Yeah, good job," and then just went away, and we're like, "Okay, so we used 2 hours for that? Well, yeah."
Okay.
Who else to do that?
Yeah. And were you allowed to leave the mission if a soldier is in another country, if he's scared or if he doesn't feel well? Yeah.
If you had a good reason, yes, you could leave the mission. We had 2 guys leaving the mission. So you do have the opportunity to do it, but then again, it's not well seen if you do it unless you have a really, really, really good excuse, because it is a military. Our lives depend on that. We're there with people we can trust, and if it's just too much to handle for you and you leave, well, we're 1 man down already, and that just shows that we went through a lot of the education alone for deployment is also 6 months. So the whole deployment with the education is a year, and you have to train with the person for a lot of the time, to trust them and know where can I trust the guy, where his strengths, where his weaknesses, where can we use him particularly in this group, and what do we need to improve in the team when we have all these different skill sets. And then when a guy leaves, it's not something that's well seen, because you spend so much time training and learning how to to be a great team with that particular guy, and when he just leaves you because of something that isn't a good excuse, yeah, it's like going on a group project and someone's like, oh, you just started and we just sorted everything out and used a half a year before we were going to start the job, actually a lot of preparation. He's like, oh, I just have a bad knee, so yeah, I'm just going to leave, and it's not really.
Yeah, understandable. And I couldn't see like many female or any female soldiers in the picture. Is it because like there are not too much female soldiers? Is it because like
no,
not Islamic country, or
no,
were there?
We did have females. We had 2 females out of 200 soldiers.
Okay,
It's just,
not that much.
it's just like nurses is a female-dominated world. Well, the military is an equivalent man-dominated world where most of them are men. There are becoming, as we move on in time, more and more female soldiers. But we also have to realize that most females can't compete with the men in many aspects of the military. For example, if you take at us in reconnaissance, that's some of the heaviest stuff you can do. That's physically our anstrengende. It's some of the it's just some of the hardest place you can be going in reconnaissance. So that's why we didn't have many females. But if you go to Aalborg, at their station over there, they have a lot of females because most females are way better treaters because they are the first aid equivalent in the military. So they have way more females than we do because most females are just better at calming down a patient and handling a patient than most of the men are, at least in this world. So right there we have more females than men. So it depends on where you are in the army.
Yes. Nice.
Can I add a question, Sunita? How about in engineering, for example?
Engineering is more man-dominated, but I think there are 10 to 15% of women over there, where there's only 1% in reconnaissance. So yeah, it depends on where we are. I think it's in Aalborg, it's almost 50-50.
Back to you, Sunita.
Yes, I have a last question. That what will be your future job? Like, what you will work as in future?
I'm studying for electrical energy technology, so I'm going to be an engineer in electrical current.
Okay, I mean, this experience so you're not going to use your job, or how? Yeah, just I mean, how this experience, like the being soldier, would relate to your future job, or is it not
no, because I can
related?
see that in the way I want to live and have in the way I want to have a life, I couldn't get it if I would get the pay of a soldier. It's a great job. I love it. That's why I'm also in the National Guard. Last year, I used not last year, in 2019, I used, I think it was 1,200 hours of my spare time in the National Guard, going out to Lithuania on exercises, doing stuff almost every weekend because there wasn't Corona. So I could see myself join the military maybe in the future, but not as it seems now because the pay is bad. So I also want to have an education before it's too late, before I get too old and grumpy. So yeah, I'm getting an education so I can get a better, more financial stable life.
Yes, nice. Thanks for sharing your experience and nice presentation.
You're welcome. And if you want to know more and see, I have lots of videos as well. I just couldn't get them in the PowerPoint. I'm not that technical a genius for that. Text me, I can show you.
Yes, sure. Yeah, I will see.
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, and this is maybe not that related, but I feel that you have an Australian accent. Is that in any connection to this? Or?
No, it depends. Actually, I have lots of accents. I can do fully British as well. It just depends on the crowd I'm talking to, because I've been playing lots of computers when I was younger. Okay. So yeah, I got lots of different accents, but not the Danish accent, because I think it sucks. Because they know what to talk like this, you know. I don't know. I'm bad at impersonating accents, but I don't have a Danish accent because of, yeah, I've been around the world playing lots of computers with people who are around the world. So if I speak with British people, I'll automatically switch over to British accent, and they're just like, okay, you didn't do that before. And I'm like, nah, I didn't.
Okay, I was just wondering if you had met more Australians than the guy you showed an image of protecting.
Oh, no, we didn't meet that many Australians. Basically, it was most Americans. So it's just it's just an accent I've picked up somewhere. That's my normal accent, and then I switch over to an accent depending on whom I'm speaking with. So. Well, if there's no more questions, we're done.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So, yeah. Cool. So that's it for today, and see you in a month for the next talk.